Hello, I hope you are well, and welcome to my new subscribers. Today I show you a video chaotic. I had an idea in my head and the result was rather disastrous, but not completely. Here I'm mixing my silicone. You see I put some shells and small resin pieces on a hard plastic sheet. I don't remember the name. I had the idea of pouring silicone on these little things directly on top because the silicone molds I had made are a little too thick for my taste, too deep. So I thought that if I poured silicone over them, I might get a thin layer of silicone. Well, you will see that it doesn't work at all. So, I'm going to speed up the video because you'll see that it's really disastrous and very, very messy. Next, I'll show you something else also with the silicone mold. Please wait and bear with me. After mixing my silicone, I took a brush and so I decided to cover the surface of my shells. These are, as you can see, are not flat, but I thought to myself, with a little luck I'll get a thin silicone print. So I applied my silicone very carefully and I soon realized that it wasn't going to work. Of course. And I really tried hard. Then I did the same thing on my little resin creations and you'll see that it didn't work either. Finally, seeing the disaster with the silicone dripping everywhere, I decided to pour the rest of my silicone into my Fimo molds and not to fill them completely. I even used a brush to brush my silicone all over. So since they are deep, it didn't run this time. But and then I wanted to try something I saw on Tea Art channel. The link is in the description box. You know that normally you can't pour silicone into a mold that is itself silicone, otherwise it sticks. I saw in this video that you can put wax in the bottom of the mold. A wax that you can use to waterproof the Jesmonite. I think you can also use Vaseline, but I'm not sure. I had this little box of wax when I ordered my pigment on Etsy from Homeware Designs. The links is below the video. So I decided to run this wax through my silicone mold. You really have to put it everywhere, in all the little holes, details, cavities, really all over the mold. You really have to be very meticulous. And crossing my fingers very hard, I hope that it would work well and that I wouldn't ruin my mold. You'll see the result in a second. Here it is. I let it dry overnight. As you can see, my rhodoid sheet is gone. It was a real disaster. Everything had leaked everywhere. The silicone had spread everywhere. Of course, it didn't stay on my shells or resins at all. This is normal since there are curved shapes. So the silicone doesn't stick. So I cleaned everything, including my shapes and shells. I had poured into my Fimo mold as well, but I had poured without filling them, so that gives me a little bit thinner shapes. I'll have to test them out. I cut the little barbels around them to give them a bit of shape. Well, let's say it worked, pouring less silicone into the mold, but I don't know if it's the right solutions. I'm going to rectify all my shells, but yes, it's true that it's still much less thick, so better. Now we'll see if it works in my molds, and let's see if the silicone in my silicone mold is a success or not. So yes, I didn't really believe it at first. I was really worried about my mold. Well, it comes off great. It didn't stick to the mold at all. Oh, it's great. I'm very happy. Obviously, I went through quite a bit of wax, but not too thick either. The top of the shell is not so good because I didn't use much silicone. I was a little bit afraid. But otherwise, everything is great. And my mold is perfect. I don't have any traces in it. So I just have to wipe it down or put it under soapy water, and it will be like a new mold. Yes, it's working. I really wasn't very confident because I was afraid of damaging my mold, but you really have to get the wax into the mold to isolate it from the silicone. In any case, it doesn't prevent from having all the details of the mold, and that's great. Yes. So you can pour silicone into any of your silicone molds if you want to make a print of this mold, but again, be really careful. Put a good layer of wax, and especially in all the corners of your mold. You really need to put enough. I think it's really cool to use any silicone mold to make a print of this mold. And this is directly with the silicone. In first make a model in resin, then pour silicone. There you can do it directly, as long as you protect your silicone mold well. Yes, I know, I repeat myself. So I'm very happy with this. As for my shells, I will most certainly make some more Fimo prints, but I'll really have to work on them so that they are not so deep and can fit it into coaster molds, for example. Otherwise, they stick out and the prints are really too thick. I'll get there. Anyway, I will have learned something, and I hope you will too. So, you can use a silicone mold to pour silicone into, as long as you protect it well. I promise this is the last time I'll say it. But this is very, very important. So, thank you for following me, if you are still there. So what? That was a pretty chaotic video, but we learned one thing. In the next video I will definitely see you again to show you how to make crystals and druzy molds, I think, yes. Don't forget the little thumbs up and the little comment, please. Take care
of yourself. See you soon. Bye.